Beyond the Mic with Sean Dillon.
We're joined on the Starline by an actor, singer, and creative. He's touring as August in the national tour of Water for Elephants. We welcome Connor Sullivan.
Thanks for having me, Sean. Good to be here.
Connor, let's go beyond the mic. You've played Flynn Rider in Tangled the musical and Billy Flynn in Chicago. What made August such a challenging role for you?
Yeah, August is a great role, I think, because he's a complex villain in this story. He's in the original novel by Sarah Gruen, which is great, and it's our source material for the show. August is dealing with mental illness in the 1930s, which was something where that was not talked about and there were no resources. So even though we don't dive as far into that in this stage version as she does in the novel, that is still the basis for the character. And so there's a complexity behind that, and then behind August trying to deal with that and trying to navigate the world as someone who is dealing with that at the time with no resources.
What makes the complexity so difficult to display?
I think there's something interesting in doing a Broadway musical that is 2.5 hours long, and you can only tell the audience so much and portray so much for the audience. And so there's a lot of other things that are also really important in the storytelling. So you don't always have time to dive as deep into, you don't have time to put all the scenes into the show that you want and all the songs into the show that you want, because the show could end up being 6 hours long. So you instead have to take whatever time you do have and really try to craft those moments so the audience really understands, even in this shorter amount of time, okay, here's what we're dealing with. Here are the complexities.
Now, if someone has not seen Water for Elephants or read the book, what can you tell us about the show?
Yeah, so if you're not familiar with the source material, it's about a young man in 1930s, Great Depression, loses everything, and jumps on board a train. And it ends up being a circus train. And that's where he meets a whole host of characters, including the ringmaster of the circus, August. That's my character. He meets Marlena, who is the sort of star performer of the circus and is married to August, and a bunch of other characters as well. And so it's a story about not only sort of the dazzle and spectacle of the circus, but also about community and finding home and starting over no matter where you are in life.
Connor, you've done film, TV, regional theater, as well as work on the Disney Cruise Line. How does this tour make you feel, especially being such a new show?
It's really exciting to be part of. It was really, really fun to be in the rehearsal room with all these creatives who worked on the Broadway project. Pigpen Theater Company, who wrote our score, all of them were sort of in the room making adjustments and tweaks to the score from the Broadway into the touring. Jessica Stone and Ryan Emmons, who were the directors for the Broadway production, directed the touring production, and they're making edits to the script. We have a great script by Rick Ellis, Tony nominee. So they're making adjustments to that and trying to figure out, okay, we learned some things even from the Broadway production. Now what can we tweak for when it's touring? So it was really exciting to be part of, and something that I felt really blessed to be part of as we sort of continue to make improvements, hopefully, as we move forward.
Connor Sullivan from Water for Elephants joins us for the Rockin' 8. Connor, all this is 8 random questions. Just trust your first instinct. There's no pressure.
Okay.
Favorite song from your a cappella group, Tonal?
Ooh. Kiss the Girl.
Best part about being 6'6" and playing ultimate frisbee?
Oh, being able to reach over everyone else's head to score some incredible touchdowns. I'm sure they're the highlights for everyone else. They're definitely the highlights for me.
Favorite Disney movie?
Tangled.
Obviously, Flynn.
Obviously.
Typical workout on the road?
Oh, my favorite workout on the road is just getting to be creative and make it work, whether you have access to a really nice gym that the theater is hooking you up with, or just whatever they have at the hotel.
Instant follow-up time. How much can you bench?
Oh, this is a good question. I haven't tested in a while, and we're going to say a gentleman never tells.
Sunrises or sunsets?
Sunrises. I'm a morning person.
Time for the hardest question known to man. It's yes, no, or maybe. Do you think the Loch Ness Monster is real? Yes, no, or maybe?
Yes, I do.
Growing up, what was a subject you disliked when you were being homeschooled?
Subject that I disliked when I was homeschooled? I'm going to have to go with Geometry. I was a big fan of math up until geometry, and then geometry really took a left turn for me. That's what got me into theater. That's what cemented the a creative arc.
Thank goodness you didn't get to trig.
Exactly.
Which musical that you haven't performed in is your favorite?
Oh, that is a good question. That I haven't performed in. I'm gonna go with Lion King. I think that's a show that no matter how many times you see it, you'll always find something moving and inspiring about it.
Time for the impossible question. If you could fix one thing in the world, but you lose your voice forever, what would you fix?
One thing in the world, but you lose your voice forever. This is a great question. Is this a serious question?
Yeah.
I think I have to go with my quick gut instinct and say, obviously, if you can end all wars and lose your voice, that's an incredible trade-off. So we're going to go with that.
Connor Sullivan from Water for Elephants joins us for the back half. Connor, what was the best article you wrote for the Lumen?
Oh, yes. I used to write satire articles for my school paper in college. And I would say the best one that I wrote was probably an article about how they were changing our mascot and how there was voting on what you could change it to. Because I actually would get people walking up to me suggesting what they should change it to. And that was an exciting.
I read it, found it entertaining. Which is harder, modeling or Broadway?
Oh, the Broadway stuff for sure. Musical theater performing for sure. The modeling is something I've done far less of, and I'm sure there's more nuance to it than I'm aware of, but the Broadway stuff for sure.
So what's your typical vocal warm-up?
I will always, before every show, there's always about a 10-minute vocal warm-up that I'll do. Some vocal trills, some basic stuff like that. I also will make sure I do a physical warm-up if I haven't gotten into the gym that day. Then there'll be probably about a 10-minute physical warm-up that I do as well. There's also a bit of a mental warm-up. Sometimes it's running through some of the lines. Sometimes it's just reviewing some story elements for a couple minutes so that hopefully when you walk on stage, you don't have to think about any of that stuff and you can just be locked into the moment.
There's such a routine that you have to get on when you're on the road. What is your routine on the road from leaving the stage to getting to the next stage?
Yes. Yep. I think a lot of finding your rhythm on the road is just all about sort of finding how you can create routine. So I was talking about the workout thing earlier. It's figuring out, okay, I might not have all the resources I want, but how can I make sure that every day for 45 minutes I'm doing something that's challenging physically? Whatever your practice of grounding yourself mentally is. For me, sometimes that's a lot of meditation and journaling. Whatever that is, finding time for that. And then also finding time to check in with those people that you love, family, friends, being really intentional about that and not getting disconnected from them, both people in the cast and people that are not with you on the road.
How many journals do you have?
I just have one. I actually journal. I'll use my laptop and I use, actually I have two on both on Google Docs. I just use that, which is really nice because easy to travel with me.
Who's the one person that you depend on from the cast when you are away from family and friends?
Oh, that's a great question. Who's that person? This has been a really great company to travel with. And I have a couple men in this cast that have been really great to fall back. I'm good friends with Zach, who plays Jacob and does a really excellent performance as Jacob in the show. Good friends with Bradley and Grant, who are a couple other guys in our show. We have a really great sense of community in this cast, which I really appreciate, and that makes tour life so much easier.
How does the down times between shows change you?
Yes. That's a great question because I think there's some value in, especially as a creative person, if you want to tell the story truthfully, there's some value in taking a break and getting away from it for a minute and sort of trying to cleanse some habits from your mind. But certainly over this 3-week holiday break that we have, probably a week and a half or 2 weeks in, I'll start doing vocal warm-ups again. I'll probably sing some other stuff that's not Water for Elephants. And I think there's a lot of value in kind of both, in sort of resting the work and the story and then warming back up into it eventually.
What are your hobbies?
I play guitar a little bit. I bake. I love baking. Can't do much of that on the road, so I'm always excited to do that over a break. Yeah, those are two big ones. Reading is really great, and that's something I've gotten back into on the road. I have a Kindle that I travel with. So that's something that's really great, and I've gotten even more into. since touring. I'd say those are the three big ones.
Favorite thing to bake?
Oh, I love baking scones. We have a family scone recipe. My dad would always bake scones on Sunday for us. And so the recipe's been passed down. I'm the second oldest of seven siblings, and all of us cook or bake because we all did that growing up. And I think all of us, at some time or another, have baked the family scone recipe. And a lot of us now, carry it forward and hopefully we'll pass it on to our kids as well.
I'm the oldest of six.
Okay. Wow, man.
Who
I love
inspires
that.
you on Broadway now?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, Joshua Henry, anytime that I see videos of him performing, um, I always am really, really captured by what he's doing. He's someone who just continues to do really incredible work. Ramin Karimloo is always someone that I've followed and really looked up to. Yeah, and I was just thinking about this because I'll be on this break and I'll be in New York, and I was just thinking that I really want to go to some shows and sit really close up and really get to watch some great acting and get inspired by that. So I definitely plan to do that over this holiday break from tour.
Let's go deeper with Connor Sullivan and Beyond the Mic. Connor, what's your Broadway dream role?
What's the dream role? I would say I think the dream role is probably Jean Valjean in Les Miserables. And I don't know if that will ever be a role that I will play.
Why?
It sort of would be a stretch for me vocally, but it's something that I always, so certainly from when I was very young, that's a role that really inspired me. And I think it's still something that is a challenge for me and something that I work towards. And it's just a beautiful musical. I just love that music and that story.
What's the first Broadway show you saw live, and how did it change your life?
The first Broadway show I saw live was, I believe, Aladdin on Broadway. And I think Aladdin was really great to see for a couple reasons. That was in 2019, late 2019, early 2020. And it was really great to see that because A, it was really well done and there were some really incredible performances. And B, I think as someone who was early in my career at that time and had never gotten to see a Broadway show, there was sort of this mystique around Broadway. And I think it was really cool to see it and see, oh, these are people just like me. And yes, I'm early in my career and maybe they have a higher skill set or have a different level of talent than I have right now, but this is attainable. And these are real people doing the same thing that I'm doing. And if I keep working at this and keep growing in this is something that I could do one day. And it was very inspiring. And it definitely helped to light some more fire under me to move forward.
What lit that fire? What motivates you?
I think as an artist, you have to be, I think you have to be really specific with yourself about why you are doing what you're doing. And for me, storytelling is really meaningful and exciting. And connecting with people is really exciting. And I want to, for me, part of my mission statement as an artist is to tell stories honestly and impact people with them. And that's something that has been so great with Water for Elephants. And it's so great with touring in general because you get to take a story to a lot of people. And with Water for Elephants, it's a story that not a lot of people are familiar with. Even, maybe 30-40% of our audience is familiar with either the book or the movie. Probably half our audience is not even familiar with one of those. So it's a really great chance to bring the story and hopefully impact people with the truth of the story. Maybe they see themselves in it. Maybe they take inspiration from it. And that's something that lights the fire in me, getting to talk to people at the stage door, people who see the show and just hearing those, whatever their insights are and their inspirations about it. I'd say that's something that I find really meaningful and something that drives me forward for sure.
You talk about inspiration. Why is it important to inspire the future?
I think, you mean as an artist or you mean just in general?
Both.
Both. I think ambition is such an important driving force, and ambition, not just for yourself, but for what you can bring to the world, is such a really important driving force, for all of us. Certainly an important driving force for me. Um, and that ambition to push yourself to be better, and then that ambition to make the world a better place. And I think, we always sort of say the thing now more than ever. Um, and I think it's just been important always. It's been important for a long time. Not necessarily now more than ever, but certainly right now and always. It will be really important for all of us to continue working together to make the world a better place. And so whatever tiny slice and tiny part of that I can have, I definitely want to have, and I want to contribute to.
Connor, who is your hero in the business and who pushes you today?
Oh, who's my hero in the business? Now that is a really good question. I'm going to circle back to Joshua Henry. Joshua Henry might be my hero in the business. He's someone who's still sort of, as you work your way through your career, there are certain people that you look up to, and then maybe you reach a certain point and you're like, okay, I still really respect them, but now I feel more like I'm on a peer level with them. And so the next person, Joshua Henry, is someone who just always, when I started out to now, has always just had this sort of godlike status in my mind. So I'm going to say Joshua Henry. He really inspires me. And honestly, I'm also going to say, as far as someone who really inspires and pushes me to be better, I think our directing team for this show, Jessica Stone, Ryan Emmons, they were so great because they really encouraged us to bring ourselves to these characters. And we had a month of rehearsal, and they really took the time to do exploring as we were building these characters and building this story. And that was something that was so cool and such a good reminder as an actor, that it is play and it is experimentation. And so that's something that I found really inspiring, and that I'm going to continue to take forward throughout this project and in the next project. So I'm going to name them as well.
What's the one tip your professor, Carla Hughes, gave you that helps you more today?
Yeah, Carla Hughes was a great voice professor that I had at Viterbo University, where I got my undergrad in musical theater. I think one great tip that Carla gave me, Carla did so much for me because she helped me really unlock a part of my voice. I had a lot of classical training in high school, which was really great. And I got more of that at Viterbo, but she really helped me unlock a more contemporary sound that has been more useful for me now. And a really great tip that she gave me that was kind of outside of all of that was, I remember one day in voice lessons, really couldn't get a song, and I was cracking a lot. And I was really self-conscious about it. And she was like, no, crack, vocal crack. We all have heard that thing where we hear a singer and we're like, ooh, they like really can't hit that and their voice is breaking. She was like, go for it. Just crack. In this room, this is a safe space. Sound terrible. Be like, suck at this song. Because that's the only way that you're going to break past that barrier and find out where you suck and why you suck, and then be able to work forward from there. And that was a great, really freeing mindset that she gave me and that I've carried forward. And I take that into the rehearsal room and into lessons now. Be okay with sucking. Forget the lines, crack on the song, and then figure out, okay, why is that happening and how can I slowly improve on that?
Let's talk about on the road. When you get to a new town, what's the first thing you have to find?
When I get to a new town, the one thing I have to find, honestly, is what the gym situation is going to be. I have been a personal trainer at different times throughout my career. I'll still sometimes train people in the cast, but for me, working out has been a really great both physical practice and a mental practice. It's everything. It's really grounding when I'm on the road. Sometimes as we're traveling, the whatever theater we're with, we'll have a deal with a gym in town, and we'll get us a connection with that. Sometimes we'll just have whatever the hotel gym is that we're staying at. I travel with a Planet Fitness membership, so sometimes in a pinch, I'm able to like walk to that. So that's kind of usually my first thing that'll be like, okay, What's that going to be like for this week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks as we're in this town? And how will I be able to sort of build my routine around that?
Now, when you go to a town you've been to before, do you go back to the same spots you used to go to, or do you try to explore?
Ooh, that's a good question because I've been to Lubbock before, and I definitely want to go back to. I want to go back to a coffee shop that I was at, but I can't remember the name of it. So I'm going to have to just go into the downtown, which is actually going to be kind of exciting. But I think that honestly is kind of the truth of returning to places that you've already been, is that some of it you remember, some of it you kind of don't. And so you get this exciting thing of being like, okay, there was this coffee shop, and I know it was generally in this neighborhood. So I'm just going to start walking. I hope I find it. And then that brings you to exploring other things along that path. So yeah, I think it's kind of a mix of both.
What's your best memory from the road from Chicago to Water for Elephants?
Ooh, the best memory from the road. Some of my favorite memories from the road are being at stage doors and talking to people, and especially kids, because I remember being that kid who just loved musical theater, loved storytelling, loved doing my community youth theater, and then going to shows and just wanting any ounce of inspiration or any ounce of wisdom from the people who were coming out that stage door, who I was just so wowed by 10 minutes before as they were finishing the show and bowing. And so getting to walk out and getting to be on the other side of that has been really special. And there's been some really just beautiful moments of talking to people. So I think those are some of my favorites.
Connor, how has this tour changed you?
I think this tour in particular has been a really great chance to experiment with how to let a story continue to be true and speak to you as the actor over time. Chicago is such a great musical. That's the tour I was doing right before Water for Elephants. It's such a great musical. It stood the test of time. It's been on Broadway for almost 30 years now, and the tour has been going out for almost 30 years. It's also a story that's it's a little more slick. It's a little more two-dimensional. It's about greed and corruption and media manipulation and kind of all of those things. Those characters live in sort of a very certain world, and it's a little more of a schmoozy, sexy story. Water for Elephants is a little more gritty. The characters have a little more potential to be a little more grounded and a little more honest, and maybe a little more nuance due to the different style of this show. And so that's been something that's really changed me and pushed me as an actor to see how you continue to evolve and find that honesty over time, as naturally happens when you're telling a story over a long amount of time. You get a little tired or a little checked out. You can be encouraged to sort of take your foot off the gas. And that's been a nice challenge. How do you keep your foot on the gas, and how do you find new ways to inspire yourself on any given night?
Since you're going to be on tour for a long time, how do you feather that gas?
Right. Yep, we're going to be on this tour at least through next November, a year from now. It's a great question. I was just talking to Zach Keller, who plays Jacob. He's our main character in our show, about this. Zach was telling me a trick that he uses is he will take a different word every night and say, okay, tonight the word for my character is listen. I'm going to focus on listening to these other characters and really making sure I'm being impacted by what they're saying. Another night, the word is urgency. What are the stakes for my character tonight? I'm really going to focus on what is important about this moment of the story. Another night, the word might be community, love, connection. How can I slightly shift my focus through those things? And it keeps it, instead of falling back on sort of a cookie cutter performance that you've crafted in rehearsals. And yes, it's important to have that groundwork. That's a really good way of challenging yourself every night to say, like, I'm coming in and maybe tonight I feel really inspired. Maybe tonight I feel a little tired, or my voice isn't at 100%, or I'm distracted by other things in my life. What is the way that I can make tonight living and breathing and real? And I think that's a really great trick that he and I have been talking about recently. And I think a lot of actors use some version of that in order to hopefully be able to give a little extra juice in those moments.
What do you see in the future?
But, I would love to see in my future continuing to make a living doing something that I love and find a lot of purpose in, which is acting and storytelling. I hope I'm blessed enough to have that.
Time for two big questions with Connor Sullivan from Water for Elephants Beyond the Mic. Connor, what's the power of acting and storytelling for you, and how do you want people viewing your work on stage?
I think the power of acting and storytelling is it can help people see truths about the world and about themselves that they couldn't understand simply from being told in a dry, straightforward way. I think watching a story and watching a character go through something you've been through, or watching a character feel the same feelings you've had, even if it's not the exact same circumstance, I think that can be something that hugely inspires people or reveals things to people about their own life or about other people's life. It builds empathy in the world. It builds understanding, connection. And so when it comes to my work, I really hope that that's what people would take away. Less anything about me even personally, and more just I hope that stories that I'm part of will be impactful in that way to people.
Geometry turned him to the arts, loves Aladdin, and wants you to see Water for Elephants National Tour now. Connor Sullivan, thanks for taking the time to talk with us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Sean.
And that, my friends, is Beyond the Mic.